who you are, who you are, who you are. The song is who you are. Hey, this is the Fresh Toones Music Show, and my name is Dave Paltz. And hopefully today I have a very inspiring show for you. I just started a series of shows called Inspirational Lives. And this is the second of a series of those shows. And today's show is dedicated to Frederick Douglass. I was lucky a few years ago, working at Animated Studio, to be able to work with a group of teenagers to put the story of Frederick Douglass together in a cutout animated piece called Frederick Douglass and the Women Who Inspired an American Hero. It was a fun project, and the kids did their best as first-time animators and maybe the first time ever doing narration or voice talent. So the students had a chance to explore a lot of their talents that they never had a chance to express before.
Together, children.
Freedom fighter and human rights advocate Frederick Douglass was well known for his stirring oratory. He is remembered as a publisher of the abolitionist newspaper North Star, as an important leader of the Underground Railroad, and for influencing President Lincoln, thus the outcome of the Civil War. To understand the man, we must become more aware of his life experience. How did this great strength of character come to be when faced with such tremendous obstacles?
I never saw my mother, to know her as such, more than 4 or 5 times in my life. I do not recollect of ever seeing my mother by the light of day. After a hard day's work, she made her journeys to see me traveling the whole distance on foot, about 12 miles. She would lie down with me, would sing to me to sleep. Sometimes she would call me her little Valentine.
Sleep, my little Valentine.
Long before I wake, she was gone, for she was a field hand, and a whipping is the penalty of not being in the field at sunrise.
Fortunately, young Frederick had the love and guidance of his grandmother Bailey, who would set him on her knee and then say to him,
"You know, Frederick, the almighty places a little bitty flame way down inside of each of us. You got to take care of it. You hear? You can't let nobody put yours out."
Come on, cut that backhoe. We got 12 hours to go and 10 wagons to fill.
Come, Teddy, and learn a few of your letters. Well, thank you.
The slave owner's wife was a woman of the kindest heart and finest feelings. She had no experience of how to deal with a slave. Shortly after I went to live with the Alds, Miss Sophia commenced to teach me.
Woman, what's wrong with you? Learning will spoil the best slave in the world. It would forever unfit him to be a slave.
When Frederick heard that, he realized that education was the key to his freedom. From that point on, he set his mind to learning as much as he could. At the age of 16, Frederick was sent to the slave breaker named Edward Covey. His resistance to Covey's violent methods became a defining moment in his life.
Time to take y'all whipping, boy.
You know, Frederick, the almighty places a little bitty flame way down inside. You can't let nobody put yours out.
At that moment, I resolved to fight. I seized Covey hard by the throat, and as I did so, I rose.
I'm going to lay down this heavy load.
Hey, you! Get in here! I need help!
Tried it on at the gates.
Covey and Frederick fought for almost 2 hours until Covey finally gave up, telling Frederick that his beating would have been less severe had he had not resisted. Frederick remembered it differently.
The truth was, he had not whipped me at all. I discovered an important truth that day. Men are whipped oftenest who are whipped easiest. That day I resolved someday gain my freedom.
Heaven, heaven
Frederick was to return to Baltimore. He met Anna Murray, a free black woman, and over time they fell in love, and with the help of friends, plotted Frederick his escape. The train was ready to leave, but Frederick waited. In the pocket of the sailor's shirt Anna had made was money she had given him, and the protection paper loaned him by a freed sailor. The document certified that the man carrying the paper was a free seaman. The papers, the money, the red shirt burned against his chest.
Tickets.
Aboard the moving train, Frederick tensed, knowing that if the approaching conductor was not fooled, he and Anna, as well as the two friends, were doomed.
Let's see your free papers, sailor.
Sorry, sir. I'll never carry my free papers to sea with me.
You better have something to show that you're a free man.
Yes, sir. This here paper. See that American eagle on it? That will carry me around the world.
Your papers, sailor.
The relieved Frederick sank back in his seat, and from that day on, he would remain a free man.
Tickets.
Frederick Douglass was and still is a powerful source of inspiration. It is through our continuing efforts that the spark that he struck still burns today. As young Frederick had learned from his grandmother, we must all struggle to keep that little flame alive and never let anyone put it out.
Oh, give me your hand, give me your hand. All I want is the love of God. Give me your hand, give me your hand. You must be loving at God's command. You say you're aiming for the skies. You must be loving at God's command. Why don't you stop your telling lies? You must be loving at God's command. Oh, give me your hand, give me your hand. All I want is the love of God. Give me your hand, give me your hand. You must be loving at God's command. You say you're glad you've been set free. You must be loving at God's command. Why don't you let your neighbor be? You must be loving at God's command. Oh, give me your hand, give me your hand. All I want is the love of God. Give me your hand, give me your hand. You must be loving at God's command.
And that was called Frederick Douglass and the Women Who Fostered an American Hero. I think the kids did a pretty good job. Like a lot of voice recordings, it took a number of takes sometimes to get it down right, but the kids are very patient and finally got it down pretty good, I guess. I must say I did learn a lot from Dr. David Anderson, and he was the chairman of Rochester Freedom Trail Commission. He's quite a historian and storyteller, and I appreciate everything I learned from him to be able to help to put together this story. I'm going to play a song from the 1800s called Wade in the Water. It's a beautiful song, and a lot of these songs are written by the slaves, held secret messages, and sometimes things that they needed to use as guides, sometimes as stars. And this song, Wade in the Water, was warning the slaves that when they were trying to escape was to get off the trail and into the water to make sure that the dogs that the slave catchers used couldn't sniff out their trail. I can imagine the slaves working in the fields and maybe singing some of these songs that the slave owners didn't know what they were about, in a way that was building up their courage and building up their confidence to be able to make that big decision to try to escape to the north. This song is called Wade in the Water.
Wade in the water, wade in the water, children, wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. Wade in the water, wade in the water, children, wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. Who are those children all dressed in red?
God's gonna trouble the water.
Must be the ones that Moses led.
God's gonna trouble the water.
Wade in the water, wade in the water, children, wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. Who are those children all dressed in white.
God's gonna trouble the water.
Must be the ones getting ready to fly.
God's gonna trouble the water.
Wade in the water. Wade in the water, children. Wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. Who are those children all dressed in blue?
God's gonna trouble the water.
Must be the ones that made it through.
God's gonna trouble the water.
Wade in the water. Wade in the water, children. Wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. Come on and wade in the water. Wade in the water, children. Wade in the water. God's gonna trouble 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 the water.
And that recording of Wade in the Water was done by Kim and Reggie Harris, and that was on an album called Steal Away, Songs of the Underground Railroad. Well, this next song that I'm going to play for you was one that I learned as a youngster. It's called This Little Light of Mine. I think I sang it so much as a kid that it ingrained in my mind that nobody was going to put my light out and that I was going to keep on singing. So I'm going to draw on my memories and sing you this song called This Little Light of Mine. Oh, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Every day and every way, I'm gonna sing it every day. I'm gonna let this little light shine. All around the neighborhood, I'm gonna let it shine. All around the neighborhood, I'm gonna let it shine. All around the neighborhood, I'm gonna let it shine. Every day and every way, I'm gonna sing it every day. I'm gonna let this little light shine. Hide it under a bushel, no, I'm gonna let it shine. Hide it under a bushel, no, I'm gonna let it shine. Hide it under a bushel, no, I'm gonna let it shine. Every day and every way, I'm gonna sing it every day. I'm gonna let this little light shine. Well, don't you try to foof it out, I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, don't you try to foof it out, I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, don't you try to foof it out, I'm gonna let it shine. Every day and every way, I'm gonna sing it every day. I'm gonna let this little light shine. All together now. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Every day and every way, I'm gonna sing it every day. I'm gonna let this little light shine. One more time. this little light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine, this little light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine, this little light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine every day in every way. I'm gonna sing it every day. I'm gonna let this little light shine.
And I'm certainly glad I learned that song when I was very young and imprinted in my mind that I wasn't going to let anyone foof this little light of mine out. And I've been singing ever since. This next song is a song of mine called Keep Your Eyes on It.
The streets, we tip our hats. We know something's wrong, but we can't get into that. The evening falls as the raven calls, saying you don't know what you think you know. But he says, keep your eyes on it, feed your mind on it, live your life in love. That's all fine and good for a saint with no life, or some mouthy blackbird who only looks good at night. The light has risen, but there is no time to listen to some silly blackbird who calls all the time. Keep your eyes on it, feed your mind on it, live your life with love. Keep your eyes on it, feed your mind on it, live your life with love.
Well, the second Friday of every month, I dedicate to individuals with inspirational lives. And this month, it's Frederick Douglass and all his efforts to bring about social justice in the United States. Even though he lived over 100 years ago, we're still struggling. And this next song is called We've Got a Long Ways to Go.
We got a ways to go. We got a ways to go. We'll keep trying. We'll keep crying. We'll keep crying to find out. We got a ways to go. We got a ways to go. We got a ways to go. It seems so hard to find, so hard to. We got a ways to go. We got a ways.
That song was called We've Got a Long Ways to Go. And I guess in all of our lives, even though we realize there's still a long ways to go, we have to decide if we're going to speak out and try to contribute to the progress that we need to make. This song is called Do I Sing or Do I Die? I think it's a question that confronts most of us in our lives, that at some point we have to decide what direction that we're going to direct our energies towards. I'm sure Frederick Douglass had to think a lot about when he was going to make his decision to try to escape and the risk that he was making, but realized that if he didn't do it, he wouldn't be able to be himself and sing his song. So he chose to make that risk to try to escape. And after he made that decision, then he was able to think about how to help others and how to change things for the better. This was a song that I really felt strongly about. It's a really rockin' one. I don't write too many rockin' songs, but this one's called Do I Live or Do I Die?
I can hear the wind coming round the bend. I can hear the wind, but I can't see you. I can feel the cold from where she comes, I don't know. I can feel the cold, but I can't see you. I used to know your name, I used to recognize your face, I used to sing your song, that's all gone. Please help me to help myself. Please help me to help myself. I need to find my voice, need to make the choice. Do I sing or do I die? Do I sing or do I die? I can hear the wind coming round the bend. I can hear the wind, but I can't see you. I can feel the cold from where she comes, I don't know. I can feel the cold, but I can't see you. I used to know your name, I used to recognize your face, I used to sing your song, that's all gone. Make the choice. Do I sing or do I die? Do I sing or do I die? Do I sing or do I die?
Well, I'm still singing, and I hope everyone listening is still singing their song. When I say your song, I mean being who you are and speaking up for yourselves and fighting for what you think is right. I hope I keep singing out for social justice and love and a whole bunch of other things. And this next song I played for you, I really had a lot of opportunity to use this song called Thanks to the Folks, which is what I'm trying to do in this series of inspirational lives. And it's kind of my way of saying thank you once again to those folks that put their lives on the line and really showed their love for other people. Today's Inspirational Live show is dedicated to Frederick Douglass. And to wrap up today's show, I'd like to play you that song called Thanks to the Folks.
Thanks to the folks who led the way. Thanks to the folks, let us thank them every day. Open the doors when the doors were locked. Told the truth when the truth was mocked. Let us always remember that we mustn't forget that we listen very carefully and say what we must. Thanks to the folks who took the risk. What they taught us we mustn't miss. To lend a hand to plant the seed of love and giving is what the world needs. We may only be a single being, but we must try and be all that we can be. The way we live will speak much louder for the things we want to say. Thanks to the folks who led the way. Thanks to the folks, let us thank them every day. In our effort to do what's right, let us try with all our might. Thanks to the folks. Thanks to the folks. Thanks to the folks. Thanks to the folks. Let us thank them every day.
And that's it for this week's Fresh Toones Music Show. I hope everyone has a great week. Thanks. Hi, this is Dave Paltz from the Fresh Toones Music Show. If you enjoy my show or any other on WRFZ, please donate to our Patreon account. Simply go on our website, rochesterfreeradio.com, and click on the big orange button. If all of our great listeners gave just a couple of bucks a month, it would help us to keep the music and talk flowing. We thank you for your support for 106.3 FM.